Puss in Boots. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had 3 sons. When the miller passed away, he left behind only a small inheritance. To his eldest son, he gave the mill. To his second son, he gave a donkey. And to his youngest son, he left a cat. The youngest son was disappointed. "What can I do with just a cat?" he sighed. But this was no ordinary cat. It was a clever, talking cat with bright green eyes and sleek fur. "Do not worry, master," the cat said. "Give me a pair of boots and a bag, and I shall make your fortune." Curious but hopeful, the young man gave the cat a fine pair of boots and a sturdy bag. The cat put on his boots and set off on an adventure. Puss in Boots went to a field where rabbits and partridges roamed. Using his wits, he laid a trap with the bag and caught a fat rabbit. He then marched to the king's castle and presented the rabbit to the king and queen. "A gift from my noble master, the Marquis of Carabas," Puss announced with a bow. The king was impressed. For several weeks, Puss continued bringing gifts, each time saying that they were from her wealthy Marquis of Carabas, a title he had invented for his poor master. One day, Puss heard that the king and his beautiful daughter, the princess, were taking a ride in their royal carriage along the river. He hurried back to his master. "Quickly, master, go bathe in the river and leave the rest to me." Though confused, the young man obeyed. As soon as he was in the water, Puss hid his master's ragged clothes and began shouting, "Help! Help! The Marquis of Carabas has been robbed." Hearing the cries, the king stopped his carriage. Recognizing Puss from all the gifts, he immediately ordered his servants to help. They dressed the young man in fine royal clothes and invited him into the carriage. The princess, noticing the handsome Marquis of Carabas, blushed and smiled at him. The young man, now dressed as a noble, bowed politely, and the princess began to fall in love. Meanwhile, Puss ran ahead to a grand castle belonging to the fearsome ogre, who was the true ruler of the land. The cat knocked on the castle door, and when the ogre answered, bowed deeply. "I have heard you possess great magic, mighty ogre. Is it true you can turn yourself into any creature?" The ogre laughed. "Of course, watch this." With a flash, the ogre transformed into a roaring lion. Puss pretended to tremble. "Incredible, but surely you cannot become something as small as a mouse." The ogre scoffed. "That's easy." In an instant, the mighty ogre shrunk into a tiny mouse, and Puss pounced. He ate the ogre in one gulp, claiming the castle for his master. When the king's carriage arrived at the castle, Puss welcomed them grandly. "Welcome to the castle of the Marquis of Carabas," he declared. The king was astonished by the vast wealth and beauty of the land. Seeing the young man's charm, the king declared, "You shall marry my daughter." The princess and the young man were overjoyed. Soon they were married in a grand royal celebration, and the poor miller's son truly became the Marquis of Carabas. As for Puss in Boots, he became the greatest and most respected cat in the kingdom, never wanting for anything again except the occasional dish of cream and a warm spot by the fire. And so they all lived happily ever after.